What's up with everybody? It's me, Memorial B.
And Nicole.
We're back here with another reaction video. Baby. Oversimplified, man. It's been a long time since we did
It's been a long time
Oversimplified.
since they've had a new one.
Well, I think he just put out a new video last week. So, the name of it is Three Kingdoms. So, when you think of Three Kingdoms, what comes to mind? I don't know. I always think of maybe Chinese dynasties or something like that.
Oh.
When I think Three Kingdoms.
I'm honestly not sure what you could be referring to.
I don't know. I just think about
really have
Asian,
no
Chinese
idea.
dynasties or Japanese dynasties.
I
think of the Three Kingdoms. I mean, honestly, yeah, that's what I think about. But yeah, man, I know it's definitely gonna be good, so we can dive right into it.
Ancient China.
Okay.
The sun is shining.
Good job.
The birds are singing. The children are playing in the village square. What a wonderful time to be alive! Hey, the Yellow River flooded again and destroyed all your crops. And also we're being raided by nomadic tribesmen.
What? Oh,
And
snaps.
also, this period of Chinese history may be entirely mythical, meaning you
Oh,
may
it's
not
fake.
even exist. But that
Oh.
would certainly explain the laser eyes. Chinese
Laser eyes.
civilization began around the year 2000 BC when the possibly mythical Xia dynasty was formed. Throughout China's history, dynasties would usually rise up with a powerful leader who worked for the good of the people. But over time, the leaders would become more corrupt and self-serving.
Yeah, that's what I was
Someone
thinking.
would inevitably build a lake of alcohol, and the angry populace would overthrow them.
But it's kind of like somebody always get corrupt. They always have somebody rise up to be
Well,
good.
power corrupts.
Yeah, man.
Greed.
I don't know why people get like that, honestly.
Giving way for a new dynasty to rise. Following
Yeah.
this pattern, the Xia dynasty was replaced by the Shang, who liked bronze and writing, but then the leaders got corrupt, and were replaced by the Zhou, who liked iron and philosophy. But that one sort of just fell apart, and was replaced by the Qin, who liked building walls and people made out of rock. But they were pretty tyrannical from the start, and were quickly replaced by the Han, who liked creating new trade routes and getting in touch with their emotions. In line with this pattern, the Han dynasty came about under the strong and popular leadership of Emperor Gaozu. The dynasty remained firmly in place for over 4 centuries and was considered a golden age in
400 years.
Chinese history, developing new forms of art, political thinking, technology. Oh, looks like all the leaders got corrupt.
Yeah.
Probably the biggest problem in ancient China's political system that allowed so much corruption to come about all the time was a little something called court culture. Let me explain.
culture.
Imagine for me, if you will, that you are the son of the Chinese emperor. Hooray! Now, apart from how weird it is that you have a ton of stepmoms, and many of them would like to kill you, and also all of your friends are middle-aged dudes with no dongs, life's pretty alright. One day, your father says, "Son, I know our relationship hasn't been the best, and I've never said this before, but I just want to let you know that I love you." Oh no, I'm having a heart attack!
Whoa.
What?
Look at you. Now you're the emperor.
Yeah.
I'm so
he's
proud
gonna
of
be
you.
emperor.
But wait,
Yeah.
But
you're
they-
but a child and have no idea how to rule over
gonna
a
have
massive
advisors,
empire.
though, until
Fret
you get
not,
older.
because just about everyone in your court wants to help you out with that. Hey man,
Really?
remember me? I'm your mom's bro. Anyway, I heard you needed someone to rule over China for you. I mean, to help you rule China. So hey, here's a popsicle. I hope we can get along. No way, man. We've been your friends and your personal caretakers your whole life. And even though we may have no dongs, I think you should give us all the power to rule China.
Yeah, everybody
I
want to rule
Help
China.
you rule China. So who will you be influenced by? Your scheming
Yeah.
uncle or your loyal eunuchs? And towards the end of the
I
Han
don't know. It's one of those hard things as a child. It's like
They're gonna go with
wanna
who they trust.
Yeah, because the uncle's going to rule him. I mean, want to rule, and it's going to influence him how he should rule.
Right,
And then the other
exactly.
guy's going to do the same thing.
At
so
the same time, they're not really old enough to know what to do.
yeah, so he could be like 8 years old. you know.
Right.
And they probably won't let him rule until he's maybe 18.
Well,
20.
or whatever their adult was then.
Yeah.
I mean, it just changed over the centuries. but
Yeah.
Could have been 14 or 16.
Yeah.
But still, yeah. He's probably going to side with whoever raised him. Like the
Yeah.
people that were there when he was growing up. Because that's who he's going to
Everybody want their hand in the cookie jar.
dynasty, a string of child emperors allowed more and more power to fall into the hands of the eunuchs. Oh no,
Eunuchs.
now they're scheming too.
Scheming,
They
yeah.
began handing out government jobs for bribes, heavily
Wow.
taxing the poor for their own wealth. And while you're
Whoa.
sitting there eating your popsicle, everyone in your court is
Hates you.
literally murdering each other, trying
Everybody
to
gonna
consolidate
hate
more
you.
power and riches for themselves. While all the peasants are outside like, hey, did you guys know there's been a drought out here for 2 years?
2 years.
That's a long time.
Guys, obviously the people weren't too happy that while they were struggling to survive, they were also being heavily taxed so that the eunuch faction could all have rockin' mansions, complete with swimming pools
Wow.
and Alexas.
Horrible.
So finally, when a self-proclaimed Taoist wizard came along and was like, you know whose fault it is that we're all out here starving? It's the emperor and his posse.
Yep.
They've lost their mandate from heaven, and the imperial family must be destroyed
So they're gonna
with
turn
an
against the kid.
unrelenting,
Yeah.
Follow
furious
him.
wrath.
Probably,
check
and then
this
he'll
out.
become corrupt.
Huh? Can you tell what it is yet? Ta-da!
The-
It's a little kitty cat.
Kitty cat.
Look at her little ears. The people loved his political philosophy. He promised them land reforms, and his followers grew in number. They began arming themselves and wearing yellow turbans. And they also developed a really catchy slogan.
Yellow Turban Army.
In the year 184, the Yellow Turban Rebellion broke out across China, with millions rising up against the Han Dynasty. And the imperial government in the capital city freaked out. With all their internal bickering, they were completely unprepared and unable to deal with such a huge rebellion. So they were forced to call on independent warlords from across the empire to help them deal with this situation. Some big names took part in the fighting. I'm talking the likes of the great Cao Cao, the tyrannical Dong Zhou,
Oh,
Liu Bei,
snaps.
Sun Jian,
What?
and many
Okay, man. I noticed why that sound familiar. The Three Kingdoms. Y'all might be like, oh, this crazy. I just played this game called Dynasty Warriors back in the day on the PlayStation 2.
Oh,
Dynasty
okay.
Warriors 3, 4, 5. And that's how I knew it was the Three Kingdoms. Liu Bei, Cao Cao, and Sun Jian. They was like the leader of the Dynasty Warriors. So Liu Bei was like, he wore the green. Sun Jian wore the red. Cao Cao wore the blue. And the greatest warrior out of all the Three Kingdoms was this guy named Lu Bu. He was the greatest and strongest warrior. So I kind of wanted to mention Lu Bu and stuff like
Probably.
that. So yeah, man.
That's funny.
Yeah, I was thinking like, man, Three Kingdoms. Yeah, from Dynasty Wars.
many other Chinese
That's a
names
great
I'm
game
definitely
too.
not
That's how I knew the yellow,
pronouncing
the yellow
correctly.
on
These warlords
turbans. They were like
crushed
the yellow
the
turban
rebellion
army.
in their own respective regions, and with casualties in the millions, the Han Dynasty breathed a huge sigh of relief.
And all
But what
three
they didn't
kingdoms gonna
realize
be
is that by
against
relying
each
on all the
other.
warlords and their armies, they had essentially diminished their own central control over the empire.
Yeah.
And many of the warlords now held the power to act almost completely independently and rule over their own local regions themselves. Back in the capital, the emperor and his son were having a little chat. Listen, I know we've had our ups and downs, and I spend all of my time with your many smoking hot stepmoms instead of you.
Yeah.
But what say you and I finally go on a little fishing trip together this weekend? Oh no, I'm having a stroke!
Again.
Yet
Yeah,
another
another
child emperor was on the throne. This time, however, instead of the eunuch faction gaining even more power, this child emperor's uncle became his regent, who also just so happened to be the head of the imperial army, He Jin. Man, I hate those sneaky, lying, cheating eunuchs. Hey Warlord Yuan Shao, what should we do?
Yuan Shao.
Kill them all.
Whoa.
Right on. You can't kill the eunuchs. They're a vital part of this empire's governance. And also, they paid me a lot of money to say that about them. Ah, come on! No. So He Jin and Yuan Shao decided the empress may need more convincing. And so they called in an infamous, feared, tyrannical, overweight warlord from the northwest to help convince her. That man was Dong Zhou. And
Heard
he
of
set
him.
out for the
Yeah,
capital
he-
city with his army.
I think
Hey
this
guys,
who Liu
I
Bei
heard a rumor that He
was
Jin was
under.
planning on killing us.
But then Liu Bei
Then
killed
why
him.
don't we kill him first?
Lu Bu, I mean,
And
Lu Bu
so it
in the
was.
game.
They lured him to the palace with a forged letter from his sister, and when he got there, they lobbed off his head.
Oh, snaps.
Dang.
Kill them all. Imperial forces stormed the palace, and the eunuchs were all massacred. The peasants, who were still suffering from drought and starvation, saw what was going on and began to riot. The emperor and his brother were forced to flee the city, which was now
Yeah.
in flames. And the feared, nasty, tyrannical, bloated Dong Zhou had just arrived. He found the emperor and his brother wandering the hills outside of the city and was understandably confused. So he scooped up the emperor, went to the capital and was like, "Hey guys, what's up? I see the capital is on fire. Also, I'm here with my army and I have the emperor with me." Wait a minute, the capital is on fire, I'm here with my army, and I have the emperor. Screw you guys, I'm in charge.
I'm in
So now
charge.
Dong
Do it.
Zhou ruled over
Yeah.
the Han Dynasty as the emperor's regent. His first act was to say to the emperor, "Hey man, no hard feelings, but I like your little brother better, so I'm actually making him emperor instead of you, so you're free to go do whatever you want."
Oh, wow.
Actually,
Oh.
yeah, that feels better. Dong Zhou ruled with an iron fist, and he did
Wow.
whatever the flip
Yeah.
he wanted. He made absolute decisions himself, showing no regard for
I
the
think the
monarchy.
Three Kingdoms
He had his
wanna take him
opponents
out.
or those who disagreed
Yeah,
with him killed. He broke protocol, doing things
Sun
like keeping
Jian,
his
Liu
sword
Bei,
when
and
approaching
Cao
the
Cao.
emperor, wearing shoes in the court, sleeping in the emperor's bed, and
Dang.
worst of all, he would walk in the presence of the emperor. You were meant to trot. The other warlords around the empire hated
Trot.
him,
I
and so
guess
they
they
said,
can't look at the emperor.
something needs to be done about this guy. What say we form a coalition and oust him? And it was agreed. Warlords from across China, their armies
Yeah.
amounting to 100,000 men, allied together against the tyranny of Dong Zhou. Yuan Shao's coalition consisted of some of the nation's most capable leaders, including his half-brother Yuan Shu, the great Cao Cao, and Sun Jian.
Cao Cao, Sun
But Dong
Jian,
Zhou had
yeah.
an ace up his sleeve. his protege and adopted son, one of the most
Lu
skilled
Bu.
and feared warriors in all of China. It's Lu Bu.
Lu
This
Bu.
guy was a beast of a man.
Beast.
He never lost a duel, and no other
Nope.
warlord dared challenge
greatest
him.
warrior in the
He
Three
was also
Kingdoms.
famous for betraying just about every warlord he ever fought.
Yeah,
for,
he did.
Something that Dong Zhou didn't seem too concerned about. The coalition attacked Dong Zhou in Luoyang, and in particular, Sun Jian's forces inflicted a heavy defeat against him, and he was forced to flee
Yeah.
to the city of Chang'an. After this initial success, however, the war entered into a stalemate. The warlords in the coalition realized it was going nowhere, and also they all secretly hated each other. So they all went
Yeah.
home. Dong Zhou was safe until legend has it that a government official in Chang'an had a daughter who was hot,
Yeah.
super hot. He invited Lu
Kim,
Bu
I
to his
forgot her
home
name.
and promised Lu
Dong
Bu
Chan,
that
yeah.
someday
Her and
he
Lu
could
Bu was
marry
like
his
lovers,
daughter.
yeah.
Then he invited Dong Zhou to his house and did the exact same
Yeah.
thing. Dong Zhou was so smitten that he insisted on taking her as his concubine immediately. And when
But
Lu
Lu
Bu
Bu ended
heard the
up killing
news,
him.
he was pretty unhappy. Hey man, aren't you worried that you stole Lu Bu's girl and
Yeah.
betrayal is like
Especially
his
somebody who's
personal
the greatest
hobby?
warrior in the
Lu
Three
Bu?
Kingdoms.
Betray me? No way, man. Never gonna happen.
Yep.
Ah, crap. Lu Bu, along with other government officials, assassinated the tyrannical Dong Zhou.
Yeah.
Then they left his body burning in the streets.
Oh.
Some sources say
Dang.
he was so fat and oily, he kept on burning for days.
And oily.
Nice. So with
Damn.
Dong
Yeah,
Zhou dead
it's fat
and the
as
power of the
oily.
Han government
Oh my
essentially
gosh.
decimated, China was left with a huge power gap and
Yeah.
a ton of warlords who all slept soundly at night dreaming of being the one to fill it. Here we enter into a crazy and chaotic period of civil war all across China with so many people, so much betrayal, so much intricacy. It makes Game of Thrones look like a Dr. Seuss publication. But just to give you an idea of how crazy and chaotic it was, see if you're able to keep up with this. Are you ready? Here we go. Here's a rough map of the warlords throughout the Han Dynasty at the time. Half-brothers Yuan
Okay.
Shao and Yuan Shu were both in a power struggle for
Okay.
who would become the figurehead of their families.
They have brothers, so they competing. Sorry.
Yuan Shu made alliances with warlords in the north, along with Sun Jian, the guy who defeated Dong Zhou.
Yeah.
Yuan Shao also made alliances with Liu Biao in the south and Cao Cao, who was an amazing strategist and
Yeah.
general. All of these warlords began fighting each other. Cao Cao began
that's
building his own
confusing.
strength by subjugating nearby remnants of the Yellow Turban Rebellion into his own forces. Down south, things weren't going so well for Sun Jian, as he was killed in an ambush. So Sun
Dang.
Sa took over. Then
Sun
Yuan
Tzu,
Shu got
yes.
pushed back to the river Huai, so he ordered Sun Ce to take the territory of
Sun
warlord
Ce.
Lu Kang. Then Sun Ce went off to capture territories in the east for himself. Cao Cao's family lived in this province over here. One day, they were murdered. Oh no,
Dang.
Cao Cao held the province's governor responsible, and so he launched a cruel invasion in which he pillaged cities and murdered over 100,000
Dang,
civilians.
Wow.
The governor
Oh.
sent out a call for help, and a very popular, likable warlord by the name of Liu Bei came to his aid.
Yeah, Liu
However,
Bei.
while Cao
Liu
Cao was
Bei.
away fighting,
I think
a
he had
rebellion was staged
two
against
other
him
brothers.
in his home province by none other than it's Lu Bu. Cao Cao rushed home and defeated Lu Bu, who fled to the east, which by now had been inherited by Liu Bei. Then Lu Bu,
Oh, gosh.
surprise, surprise, launched a rebellion against Liu Bei, who fled to Cao Cao. Together, Cao Cao and Liu Bei would go on to
Teams.
invade and
Yeah.
defeat Lu Bu. Lu Bu offered to
So
join Cao Cao, and
confusing.
Cao Cao considered the offer. But his advisors were like, no way, man. This guy's betrayed literally everyone he
Yeah.
ever worked for. And so Boo-hoo, Lu Bu,
Yeah,
was
killed him.
executed. Next,
Yeah, it's
Cao Cao
true.
convinced
Ah.
the emperor to move in with him. Now he's in control of the Han government, something that made his allies very jealous. Yuan Shu, out of nowhere, decides to declare himself emperor of the new Zhong dynasty. Nobody liked that. His allies cut ties with him. The imperial government ordered everyone to kill him. He tried to flee to his brother Yuan Shao, but died of illness on the way. Sun Ce took
Yeah.
over his territory and then got assassinated. So his brother,
Oh my
Sun
gosh.
Chen,
Yeah.
took over. Liu Bei turned on Cao Cao, but got obliterated and was forced to flee south. Yuan Shao finally defeated the warlord to his
So
north and could now
confusing.
Yeah.
focus south. He declared war on his ally Cao Cao, but was defeated at the Battle of Guandu. Cao Cao has now united the north, and he turned his attention to the south. In particular, Liu Biao's province was becoming a powerful threat, so Cao Cao attacked him. Liu Bei was now fighting for Liu Biao, and he held Cao Cao off for a while. But then Liu Biao died and his son took over, and immediately surrendered to Cao Cao. Liu Bei was horrified, and he fled
Yeah.
southward to try and maintain control of the province. Cao Cao was on an absolute roll, and it looked like he would be the one to take control of China. He began making plans to attack both Liu Bei and Sun Qian, and the two of them, seeing where things were headed, met up and decided to form an alliance.
Yeah, to take out.
Now I
Cao
know
Cao.
that was a lot to take in, but all you really need to know at this point is that this guy is on his way to taking over everything, and he's
Yeah.
about to throw his full weight at the southern warlords. These two have one chance, one battle, to prevent him from invading the south, and
Yeah.
that battle was the famous Battle of Red Cliffs. To take the south, Cao Cao would need to control and cross the mighty Yangtze River. He had over 200,000 men to face against Liu Bei and Sun Qian's combined force of 50,000.
Whoa.
How would they stand a chance when they were so outnumbered?
Like 4 times
Legend
his
says
army,
most of Sun
their
Qian's
army.
advisors pleaded with him to surrender, but then he smashed up a table and they all backed down. Luckily, Cao Cao's forces were ravaged by disease and exhaustion, and his northern soldiers weren't too
Like working
comfortable
them
in
to
ships.
death.
So when
Yeah.
Cao Cao sailed down the river and the two sides met for an initial skirmish at Wulin, Cao Cao was unable to inflict a defeat against the Allies. Then, one of Sun Qian's men came up with a very sneaky plan. He sent Cao Cao a letter, pretending that he and others wanted to defect to his side, and offered to bring him some of Liu Bei and Sun Qian's finest ships. Little did Cao Cao know, however, that those
It was an
ships
ambush?
were full of flammable reeds. As they approached his
Snaps.
fleet, they were set alight and destroyed his ships and camp.
Wow.
Seeing the situation as hopeless, Cao Cao ordered a difficult retreat through the rain and marshlands, during which more of his men fell to illness and disease.
Yeah.
The underdogs had won, and Cao Cao would never again have another chance to take the south. Following that, the three warlords took some time to finish off some smaller competitors in their own regions, and by the year 214, China looked a little bit like this. Cao Cao continued to try to penetrate the
You know how
southern
they
region,
say Cao Cao,
but had no
but,
success,
like, the game
and even
pronounced it
lost the
Cao Cao?
Hanzhong region to Liu Bei in
that's
217.
what I'm saying, like, the
Former
game,
allies
Cao Cao.
eventually fell out over who should
Liu
own
Bei,
this territory here,
Sun-
with Sun
Sun
Qian coming
Qian.
out on top. In 220, Cao Cao died of a head disease and was replaced
Dang.
by his son, Cao Pi. Cao Pi convinced the Emperor of Han to abdicate, and then proclaimed himself the Emperor of the
What?
new state of
Yeah.
Wei. Liu Bei followed suit, declaring himself the true
Jeez.
Emperor
Yeah.
of Shu Han. And a few years later, Sun Qian joined in the fun and declared himself Emperor
Yeah.
of Wu.
Wei,
And so now
Shu,
you have a
and
number
Wu.
of
Yeah.
kingdoms in China.
That was the,
How many? Count them.
3.
1, 2, 3. 3 kingdoms. Except, actually, they weren't kingdoms, they were dynasties.
Yeah,
And when the three
dynasties.
kingdoms finally formed, not a whole lot happened. For the next 3 decades, they continued to engage in combat, but it almost always ended in stalemate, and nobody really got anywhere. So
Yeah.
how did it all end? Did Cao Cao's descendants eventually realize his dream of unifying China? Not quite. Instead, the three kingdoms became victims of the usual problems that plagued Chinese dynasties. In Wu, Sun Qian's descendant became a tyrant who was more interested in spending
Dang.
time with his concubines than governing. In
Yeah.
Shu Han, a powerful, corrupt, eunuch faction rose up, and by now we all know how that ends. And in Wei, a string of young emperors gave way for a powerful family, the Sima clan, to take control of the dynasty's government. This Sima clan recognized the weak state Shu and Wu had been reduced to, and so they began making plans. I've just received this letter that says Wei is planning to attack us. Should we make preparations for war? Nah, it's probably nothing to worry about. Let's do
Dang.
absolutely nothing. Sounds good to me. Wei launched a full-scale invasion into Shu, which
Yeah.
fell within a year. Then Sima
Well,
Yan forced
you
the
need to
Wei
prepare
emperor
for it.
to abdicate and proclaimed himself emperor of the new Jin dynasty. In the year 279,
Okay, yeah.
Jin launched an invasion of Wu and finally unified China in the year 280.
So-
the pattern of rising and falling dynasties, division and reunification
Well, they united
would
as one, I
continue in
guess,
China
but
Right.
for
under Jin's
centuries
rule.
At that time.
to come.
See, yeah, man, I used to play the game a lot back in the day. It was called, Dynasty Warriors. They had, like, it started off on PlayStation. It was Dynasty Wars 1, and PlayStation 2, they had Dynasty Wars 2, 3, 4, and, like, 5, I believe. And I think 6 was on PlayStation 3, all the way up to, like, 7. And it was pretty good games. I mean, I stopped playing after Dynasty Wars 6. But I definitely enjoyed them, man. They was definitely fun. That's how I knew like some of the characters. Like Cal,
Yeah.
he say Cao Cao, so I don't know if I'm pronouncing it, he pronouncing it right, or I'm pronouncing it right because the game they would say Cao Cao.
Yeah, I
you
don't know either. I mean, I know a lot of times in Chinese the C is like a soft C like that.
Yeah.
But that doesn't
Like
mean
some
that
C.
it's always. I don't know if it's always that way.
Yeah, and I remember like Liu Bei, he was the leader of the it was the Wei, the Wu, and the Shu. So I think Cao Cao was the Wei. His army was the Wei.
Yeah.
Well, after his son got it, and then I think Sun Jian, his descendants, they was the Wu, and then the Liu Bei was the Shu or whatever. And I think Liu Bei had like 2 brothers. I forgot their names, but they
So
was.
clearly that game was based off of these dynasties.
Yeah, it's
though,
it was pretty much based off these
That's really
dynasties.
kinda
Like Lu
interesting.
Bu was the greatest warriors out of all the 3 kingdoms. Comment down below if you play the game Dynasty Warriors, man.
Man, you got all excited when you realized
Yeah, man. 'Cause I
that.
started seeing 3. When I first seen it, like the title of the video, like 3 Kingdoms, I was like, man, like I don't want to talk about the Chinese dynasties and stuff. And then when I started looking more into it, I was like, man, I want to be talking about Dynasty Warriors. Like
That's so
the people and stuff. Yeah, man, it's great learning new stuff about other like cultures.
I know.
And
I love these
other
videos. He does it so well.
civilizations. Yeah.
So well.
Yeah, man. We hope you enjoyed our reaction, man. Don't forget to subscribe to Oversimplified. Make some amazing videos. Subscribe to
they
the
do.
channel. But if you want to support our channel, you want to see a special video request, Check out the links to our stream lives. Gonna be in our description and our video calls. And also, man, subscribe to the other channel, man. Help us get 1,000 subscribers on the other channel, man. The link's gonna be in our video end cards and our description. Don't forget to subscribe
And thumbs it up.
turn on notifications. It's your man, More B.
And Nicole.
We're gonna catch you on the next one. Stay awesome. Peace and love, baby.